Hello there, this is JackTHerbert, and this is a video discussing the builds that I use on Payday 2. So sometimes I stream Payday 2, and some people have asked me to make a video on the builds I use, so that's what I'm doing. This is correct at update 105.1. If there are any future updates, which I'm sure there will be, these could be drastically changed, and I might just, feel like trying something different. But anyway, let's jump into it. So I've got a few builds that I'm using, but they all mainly center around the same thing. And this came, I only realized this very recently, as in within the past 2 weeks of making this. I found out that Frenzy existed, and this changed everything. So anyway, I'll start from where I start putting the points in. So right from the start, you might think, well, why am I putting things in Brawler? I'll explain this as I go along. By the way, I have the builds set for, I have like one for each weapon type, but other than that, they're basically all the same thing, apart from boring mode, which is stealth, because I don't like playing stealth, but sometimes you need to have one, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I'll start with the pistol one, because it's the one I've been using lately. So first off, what I do, I go into Fugitive, and I take... Well, okay, so basically, when I Infamy, I'll do a Death Wish jewelry store, and then suddenly be level 30, so I can actually get all of this in one go. So I'll take Martial Arts Basic, simply to get in the tree. I'll take Bloodthirst Ace. Basically, I need to ace one of each of these. One of these two and one of these two to be able to reach Frenzy. So I take Bloodthirst because the main reason why is when I get a melee kill, I then get a really fast reload, which is actually surprisingly useful. You'd be surprised the amount of times where I'm like, okay, I'll just quickly get a kill with my sword and then reload. Boom, job's good. The other part of it is actually pretty good because it means you get 300%. After you've killed 3 enemies with a gun, you will then have a 300% increase in damage for your weapon. In my case, I use the katana, so that ends up one hit killing pretty much everything. Or in terms of like, I think the only thing it wouldn't one shot is a bulldozer, because they have a special way of calculating the health, but that's beside the point. I mean, I'm not fussed on pumping iron, to be honest. Just a flat damage increase. I barely use the melee, I mostly use the reload thing. That's the reason why I take Bloodthirst over that. Berserker. Now, at first I was thinking, I mean, Berserker ain't that great, is it? But then when you realise what Frenzy does, Berserker becomes ridiculous. So, the lower your health, the more damage you do. So, with Frenzy, while it says you only get 30% of your maximum health, that doesn't mean that your maximum health is reduced by 30, it means that on the actual health wheel, you will only ever have 30% of it filled. Therefore, Berserker is always active. This is actually really good because you get a fixed one. When you're at max health, you have 1.4 multiplier on your range attacks, and you'll have a 2 times multiplier on your melee attacks, which actually ends up being really good. Counter-Strike, I mean, I don't really feel the need for it, but I mean, if you have a lot of trouble with cloakers, sometimes you can get there. But I mean, it's not worth the 9 points in my opinion. I would always take Berserker over that. And then you get to Frenzy, the main thing, and I'm going to explain why Frenzy is so ridiculous. Because when I first saw it, I took one look and was like, wow, that sounds crap. Why would I take that? I don't want to have 30% of my health. What the hell is that? So, while your health gets reduced to the 30% of its maximum, in turn, you get 60% of all damage that you receive is reduced. Now, if you do the maths, that ends up being slightly negative until you realise this does not take into account your armour. Your armour is not affected by this whatsoever. So when you're playing with a high armour build and you take Frenzy, suddenly your armour is effectively tripled. It's not quite triple, but it's... So when I play, my base armour that it says I have is 400. But in reality, due to the damage reduction, That's actually 1,000. That's insane. That's so good. It helps that I play Anarchist, by the way, so I regenerate this armor constantly while I'm in battle, and if I'm shooting people, which I do a lot of, I'm regenerating it as well, and if I'm getting headshots, I'm regenerating it even more, which I will be explaining in a moment. So that 60% damage reduction is ridiculous. So after I found out about that, I was just like, yeah, I'm taking Frenzy. Frenzy just... there is no reason to not take it. I imagine this will be nerfed at some point and they'll make it so it won't work with your armor, but at the moment it's just completely ridiculous and I don't see any reason to not take it because that's 60% reduction. Oh, another thing, because I'm using Anarchist, the 30% of the health, my health is already reduced because of using Anarchist, so the amount that my health gets reduced by ends up effectively being less. So I can't remember the maths on it. I have 115 base health, so instead of having 115, if I divide that by 3, annoyingly that doesn't divide very well. If it was 120, then I would end up with 40 health. So I'm just shy of 40 health. So if my armor goes down, I'm pretty much fucked. But my armor doesn't ever go down. That's so rare to happen, and I have to be really stupid for that to end up happening. Another cool thing actually that you don't realise is so if you get down by a cloaker, you've lost all your fucking health, and it's like, well, great, I'm not at full health anymore. When you have Frenzy, if you're playing on overkill or below, then suddenly when you get cloaked, when you back up, you're on full health already because the amount of health you get put up to it is 30% anyway. So that doesn't have any problems with it. Okay, jumping on to the next stuff I start taking. One thing I always take on every single build that I do, no matter what, I'll take basic duck and cover for the extra stamina and the sprinting, because movement speed very, very good and very important. And I'll take a basic parkour. Sometimes I'll ace it. It depends on whether I have the points to spend and whether I feel that it's necessary with that particular build. But the extra 10% movement speed flat out is absolutely incredible, and I must have that at all times. Whenever I forget to take it, I instantly notice it with how slow you move. It's very worthwhile taking that under, in my opinion, under all circumstances, I would take this one. So the next priority stuff for me is the Enforcer stuff. This again differs between the different builds depending on how many points you have to spend and this, that, the other. So Resilience, you want to ace that immediately. The reduced visual effect on Flashbang is 100% necessary in my opinion, because if you when you take it, you're blind for about a second, then you're a little bit iffy for like a couple more seconds. When you don't have it, you're blind for like 4 seconds, and you're like, well, what can I do? You don't quite realise how important it is until you try it with it and then try it without it, and then you realise how much of an impact that has. It makes it completely ridiculous. I always take Transporter. I tend to ace it as well because the extra movement speed with, especially given that I tend to have 400 armor, so I get a 40% reduction in movement penalty. So I can actually move fairly decently with like gold and stuff. Stuff like the prototype machine on Big Oil still makes you go ridiculously slow, but you still end up moving a lot faster than you otherwise would. The basic is absolutely necessary in my opinion. Throwing those bags extra distance is absolutely incredible, especially when the majority of heists in this game revolve around throwing a lot of bags. Obviously, if you're specifically building for a specific heist and you know there are absolutely no bags, then maybe you don't need it, but I don't know. Die Hard, I'll sometimes take the basic of this because that taking 50% less damage while interacting with objects is actually very good. But again, it depends on whether I have the points to spend. That 50% less damage while interacting with objects, that counts as when you're reviving a teammate. So because of that, it is quite worthwhile for like, oh, I'm being shot at from all sides, I need to revive my mate. while I'm reviving him, guess what? You're taking 50% less damage. When that's comboed with Frenzy, suddenly you're, I'm not sure how the calculation works, how they do it, but you're either taking 80% less damage, or I can't be asked to do the maths in my head right now. So it's either 80% reduced damage, which is ridiculous, or something a bit less reduction, but which is still fantastic. Especially when using Anarchist, you're going to be regenning. I've found that whenever I'm reviving people using this, I'm regenning armor faster than they can deal the damage to me. So it just makes it so you just can't die. The main thing in this build is I don't seem to ever die. I mean, cloakers, I guess, but and maybe if they get unlucky with the taser, but that's beside the point. So bullseye. This is absolutely required when you're using Anarchist. The regeneration of 25 armor when you're getting a headshot, which you're getting a lot of, that is absolutely ridiculous. That combos with the armor you get by dealing damage, so you end up recovering 35 armor. I can't remember what the what is the actual time frame on the perk deck. So you can get dealing damage, you get 10 armor every 1.5 seconds, and then with a headshot you get 25 every 2 seconds. That is absolutely ridiculous. If you have the points to spend, you absolutely want to get Iron Man. In this case, I don't have the ace because I didn't have enough points to spend. I'll explain why in the other point bits that I'm getting. But if you have the points, you'll absolutely want it. I found it's not actually that necessary because I go around with a regular CTV and I don't tend to die at all anyway. So sometimes I feel like those 8 points could be spent better elsewhere. It's definitely worth getting the basic though, because that extra 30% of armor is very, very useful. If you have trouble with shields, I'd take shock and awe. The basic is absolutely worthless if you're running Anarchist like I am, because the basic actually does not affect Anarchist, it only affects other perk decks, because the change in style of regeneration of armor makes this actually completely not work, otherwise it would be even more overpowered. So they made sure that that didn't work. However, the ace allows you to either melee or shoot at a shield and it will knock back, and then you can shoot it again and kill it. That is very, very useful. It is 9 points. So in this particular build, I don't have it because I had to spend a lot of points elsewhere. However, I do have other builds where I do have it. Usually when I'm using a shotgun build, I'll definitely take it. But in this build, depending on how I feel, sometimes I'll take a flamethrower as a primary to deal with shields, because this is a pistol build. I'll take a flamethrower as the primary, and then I'll take my pistol as my secondary, use that as my actual primary, and then just get out the flamethrower for shields. I've had some really good success with it, so I don't know. If you have a spare point, it might be worth whacking a point into Underdog. Just gives you a extra damage boost when there are 3 people around you. It depends on whether you have the points to spare. So the main thing with this pistol build is, as you can see over here, I have all of the pistol skills now. Akimbo, you can take or leave based on whether or not you're going to also use an Akimbo thing. So if I'm going to use the flamethrower as my primary, I'll get rid of Akimbo, and I'll put those points in probably into extra lead. But in this case, last time I was playing with Akimbo as well as the single pistol. So equilibrium, 8 accuracy with all pistols. Now for me, accuracy is the most important thing other than damage. I hate it when my shots aren't going where they're going, so getting this is very good. Also, the decreasing the time to draw and holster pistols by 80% is also very good, because it lets you swap between your primary and your secondary a lot faster, which isn't that important, I suppose, but there are times when you find that you wish you had it. So gun nut, increased pistol magazine size. Annoyingly, it's only, I mean, it makes sense, but well, I guess it doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense physically anyway, but beside the point. It doesn't work with the revolvers, so you can only use it with like actual magazine ones, which I guess makes sense because it says magazine, but it also doesn't make sense because you can't fit more bullets in the magazine. It doesn't. that's beside the point. The increased rate of fire with pistols is also very good, especially when because that combos with akimbo. So when you're firing akimbo, you get an increased rate of fire as well. I think it does, at least. I'm actually not 100% sure about that. I'm starting to second guess myself. Akimbo, you take it if you want akimbo, you don't bother if you don't want it. Simple as it's that's what it is. That akimbo actually, as far as I'm aware, also affects the might also affect the akimbo SMGs, but I've not actually tested that, so I can't say for certain. One-handed talent. Alright, so now this one is a must-have. It flat out increases the damage for your pistols. Take it, assuming you're doing a pistol build, take it, absolutely take it. You want that extra 15 damage, that's really, really good. Especially, and the fact that it's just a flat number, it works even better for the weaker pistols with fast fire than it does for the bulky pistols that already have a lot of stopping power. Desperado, I like taking this for the extra reload speed, because there's nothing worse than when you finish unloading your magazine and suddenly it's like, ah, well, shit, I need to reload. You can just, it's really quick. I mean, you can, when that also combos with Bloodthirst with the reload speed, so if you have both of them, your reload is pretty much instantaneous. You might as well not have run out of ammo. It just keeps on going. The extra accuracy bonus is also nice, but generally you'll probably already be at 100 accuracy with this if you've built your pistol pretty well and you're not using a garbage pistol. But trigger happy. Now this, I really like this because annoyingly the way it works, it isn't how it sounds like. So it says for each hit with the pistol you get a 20% damage boost that lasts for 10 seconds, because I've got the ace. That stacks up to 4 times. Now when it stacks up, it doesn't reset the damage boost duration. So from your first kill, you will then, so from first hit even, not even kill, you will get a 20% damage boost for 10 seconds. If in 2 seconds time you get another hit, then you've got 8 seconds left of a well, the way it's cumulative, so it's 20% plus another 20%. So I think I can't remember what it ends up going to. I think it goes, yeah, that's it. It goes 1.2, 1.45, 1.7, 2.1. So at least that's what if I remember remembering the numbers correctly. I could be getting this all wrong, to be honest. So the timer itself doesn't reset at all. So if you keep getting loads of kills, like when I first read this, I'm like, this is insane. If you keep getting the hits, you're going to be constantly having a 2.1 multiplier on your on all your shots. But no, it's from the first hit. As soon as those 10 seconds are up, it gets reset, and then you have to start from scratch. But even still, it is incredible. With all of this setup, with all the pistols I've been using, a bulldozer goes down in 3 shots. One to take off the black mask, one to take off the glass mask, and then the last shot kills it instantly. Deals 5,000 damage on the bulldozer with a headshot. That's deadly as fuck. So what else have I got? Right, so depending on whether or not you're building for silent pistols, the specialized killing is absolutely ridiculous. You get 30% extra damage flat out on any gun that you apply a suppressor to, and pretty much every gun now has a suppressor that doesn't reduce its damage and increases its accuracy. So while you won't be able to take, for example, a competitor's compensator or a tactical compensator, you can, however, take the silencer and you end up with an extra 30% damage, which actually ends up being a lot more than you otherwise would. You can get your weapons to insane damage by using these. To get up there, I just take the basic one of this, because you got to take something. This is, I mean, I guess you could ace that instead, but I personally would. This is less points, so you get an extra point back. I mean, the stability and snap to zoom speed increase is good, but the reason I'm taking it is so I can get the specialized killing. Is there anything else in this particular build? I put couple of extra points over here. I mean, I just have some spare points going. If I had more points to spend, I would get this. I would also get extra lead, get that aced if I could. And then I'd even go as far as to get fully loaded, because that is actually really good. But you only have so many points to spend, and as such, the one problem I have with these builds is they're very selfish. So the thing is, I don't have any upgraded deployables whatsoever, and I feel bad about that. I used to have upgraded deployables before I found out Frenzy existed, but then by the time I put all my points into Frenzy, and then all of the weapons that I actually wanted to use, I have no points left. So I'm just like, well, I need these, and I need these, so I can't really take these. And so I actually feel bad about it, and that's why sometimes I'll scrap the ace parkour and whack it into a basic extra lead, so at least I've got 2 ammo bags. But to be honest, I've not really run into many problems. It's a little bit more difficult when you go on to Death Wish, but even then I've not had many problems depending on what weapon I picked. So if I pick a weapon which I know is good, then I'll be fine. But if I'm trying out something new, sometimes I might run out of ammo on Death Wish. But that only happens on Death Wish. On Overkill you can take anything and you're fine. So that's it for the pistol build. Slight differences with the other one. So with the automatic build, of course, you don't take any of Gunslinger. Instead, those points have gone straight into Technician over here, into Oppressor. So ace this because stability is great and accuracy is great, as I'm sure you've already heard me talking about. Fire control, so extra 12. I mean, the main reason do I need this? I do like that extra accuracy. I'm starting to doubt myself whether I need this or not. I could probably drop this and put it somewhere else, but I don't know where else I would put it, to be honest. Do I already have? I think I already have the. Don't already have it, but I wouldn't get enough points for. Oh, I could take that off, and I could take that off. I don't know. I felt. As you can see, I'm second guessing myself as I go along, because these are just what I've been using. Surefire now. I find this skill to be incredible because it lets you body shot tans and you will still kill them. It might take a couple of shots, but you can still absolutely kill them. It also giving you the extra 15 bullets in the magazines is incredible. That works even better for the small ones like the Eagle Heavy Rifle, but it also works fantastic for bullet hoses like the Clarion. So as you can see, it doesn't affect the lock and load ace. Wait, what's that? Oh, okay, so that makes it even better. I didn't even notice that. Anyway, yeah, so being able to pierce body armor is incredible. Lock and load, I like to ace this because it gives you incredible. So basic, you pretty much use that way you can sprint and shoot, which is actually really, really good, especially with SMGs and like fast firing stuff. But when you get 2 or more kills, you actually get to reload really, really quickly. This actually also combos with the melee kill thing. So if you've shot a bunch of people, then cut someone up, then reload, it's going to take you like maybe half a second to reload. It's ridiculous. The animations are quite funny when you reload really fast. I like doing that. And so this one I'm not as sure on anymore. But at the time I made this build, on Overkill difficulty, basic body expertise actually ends up being better than the ace expertise, the ace body expertise, based on the way that the calculation is done. I don't know whether this is the case anymore, but basically what it would do is it would take the headshot damage, take the percentage from it, so in this case 18.75 of that, and that is the damage that is dealt. But if that is below the base body damage, it then adds the base body damage on top of it. Therefore you end up with, so for example, if the amount of headshot damage was 300%, you take 18%, let's round it 20% just for conveniences. So let's divide by 5, that ends up being so that's 60. So because the amount is 60%, that's below 100%, so they add an extra 100 onto it, so you end up dealing 160% damage. Whereas if you take the 62%, let's round that down to 60% for simplicity's sake. I know these numbers don't actually work, but it's just to give an example which I can actually work out in my head rather than having to get a calculator. 60% of that would be oh, actually in that case it does work out more, because that ends up being 180%. But I think most things end up with a lower, I don't know, I've just proved my point completely wrong. I mean, fuck's sake. But basically with some numbers it ends up working out better to have the basic, and from what I've heard on Overkill it tends to be better to take basic, but on Death Wish it's better to take ace. But it's also 8 points, and it is always better to take it than to not take it. So I take the 4.1 and then spend the other points in the other things. As you can see here, I actually do have Iron Man, and I do have Shock and Awe, because shields give me... Oh, I hate shields. Surprisingly, shields are the most annoying enemy to me. I could deal with anything else fine. It's the shields that are the most fucking annoying, which is why I take Shock and Awe. But I'm so used to not having it that I don't even do it. And a slight different one for shotguns. Again, still have all of this, still have all of this, and this, that, the other. So you take the shotgun skills. Logically, that's what you do when you're using a shotgun. So you take the basic of that. You don't want the ace for that because of the way damage is calculated. I don't know if they've changed this, but the way damage is calculated, if you receive damage, you're immune to equal levels of damage for X time. However, if a higher level of damage comes in, you end up you take that damage in addition to the previous damage that you took. Now, the way that Underdog Ace works is as soon as there are if that cooldown thing wears off as you're taking damage, suddenly you're going to be taking more damage, and that will combo with the damage that you've already taken, and you're suddenly taking a lot more damage than you otherwise would be. So that can be a little bit iffy, so I tend to just take the basic to unlock the rest of it. Extra 15% damage with shotguns, give it to me, I want it, mine. Reloading shotguns faster, that's incredibly good, especially when you're reloading a single shell at a time, which I tend to do with the shotguns I've been using. Okay, so I really like getting aced far away, because this means you can effectively snipe with shotguns. So I'll demonstrate this in a sec, actually, because visual demonstration is probably the best way of doing it. But you can basically have a massive spray by shooting without the sights, or use the sights and get a very small cluster of where you're shooting. So that works really, really well for both ends. That actually allows, in my opinion, before you would always take a shotgun and then you'd take like a pistol or something or a long range weapon with high accuracy. But with this, you don't need that. You can just hit them with a shotgun, so you can take 2 shotguns. So you're getting double benefit from your skills. Close by, again, I'd say this is very necessary, because you can just run around, blast people in the face, and they're dead. And again, also increases the rate of fire for single shot shotguns. Those are the ones I've been using a lot lately. But even if you're using a magazine one, an extra 15 shells, that's ridiculously good. Overkill basic, because you're using shotguns, you get a 75% damage increase. That's always very, very nice. And as you can see, I've got this, and I've taken saw just because generally if I need to be the guy sawing, I will use this build, because that's what I chose to do. Is there anything else I need to mention? I don't really play with the snipers because the sniper perks aren't actually that good, but I mean, I've just taken them. I mean, I don't really know what else I can explain about them. You take that to get on the board. Weapon accuracy, always good. Especially for snipers, pretty much necessary. Although a lot of the snipers already have quite high accuracy. Snap to zoom is good. The increased zoom level, you want that for a sniper. And also it increases your accuracy while moving, so that's actually really, really good. I didn't notice that second part of it. High value target is good because while you're scoping, it marks everyone anyway. So, and it also, the further away they are, the more damage you deal. You end up being able to deal 65% extra damage. I mean, to be honest, with a sniper, you're already one-shot killing pretty much everything, so it's a bit redundant. But what else can you take for a sniper? Aggressive reload, because it's these only really affect snipers. These are the only things available for snipers, which is the reason why they've been taken. Ammo efficiency, it's not great, but I mean, it's the only thing that works for snipers. I mean, maybe I should just scrap all of that and take all of this stuff. I mean, who knows? And then stealth one it's you take the stealth stuff. There's nothing to really special about it. You take these, and you take transporter, and you take all of these. Just there's nothing else you can really take. Right, now let me switch back to the shotgun one, and let me let's grab this one. Actually, no, I tested it out with, I saw the example works best with the 12 gauge, so I guess they are all 12 gauge, the Spaz 12 equivalent, the Predator. So here we are in the safe house. I'm just here to demonstrate the effect of far away. So with I've got the Spaz 12 here, as you can see. If you fire it in hipfire mode, you've got massive spread. Also, I'll just demonstrate how fast you can fire with these perks. You can fire like this. So that's pretty cool. So you can see there's a lot of spread. But if you scope in, look at that. Look at how precise that is. Suddenly, you've got direct hits all clustered around one point. And you might think, well, I don't want a shotgun for that. But say you got a sniper up there. Oh, I got him. Or you can just be like, boom, dead, sorted. It's ridiculous. I think it's a very good skill and really helps shotguns become even better than they already are. So that's that. That's me explaining my builds. That ended up taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I went into a lot more detail than I thought I was going to end up going into, so hopefully you enjoyed it. These are just my builds, what I use. They're not necessarily the best, they're not necessarily what everyone should use. This is just what I personally like using myself. If there's anything else you want me to talk about relating Payday, whether it be like weapons or, I don't know, heists, I don't know, just anything at all, let me know in the comments and I'll see whether there's anything else I can do about it. Hopefully I won't end up making it as long as this, fuck's sake. But yeah, with all of that, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.